Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the early slate on Draftkings for Thursday. We will have a separate video for the main slate happening later on in the day, so make sure to go check that out. But for now, we're just focusing on this 5-game early slate, and there's no weather concerns that we have to worry about here. So without any weather concerns, let's just dive right in. But before we do, we're going to take this one game by game. We're going to be breaking it down game by game, kind of switching up the format and how we present these videos, at least for now. So drop a comment below. Let us know. Do you prefer the game by game breakdowns? Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that on the 15-game slates just because your time is valuable. But for these shorter slates here, if you prefer us to go game by game, or if you prefer us to go through each of the pitchers individually and then let you know some of our favorite stacks, let us know which one you prefer in the comments down below. But for right now, let's just turn to the first game here. Toronto versus Atlanta leads off the slate here. Morton versus Stripling. This game has the highest, or tied for the highest, total on the game right now at a 9 over/under. And with that being said, I don't have much interest in either of the pitchers here. You know, Morton could be a GPP play at best. He's got a higher walk rate than you would like. 2 or more walks in each of his games so far, except for that one there. But overall, it's around a 10% walk rate. And he's going up against a strong Toronto team and offense who, you know, they're smart at the plate. They know what they're doing. And with the power that they have as well, and Morton just has limited movement on his pitches. I think he's near the bottom in the league in chase rate. So how often can you get a batter to chase outside the zone? He's very weak in that. So I think these Toronto bats are going to be a solid play here. There's a reason it's a 9 over/under. It's just a poor pitching matchup with 2 stronger offenses. Stripling, he's even worse than Morton. Stripling might be my least favorite pitcher on the entire slate, and kind of makes Atlanta one of my favorite offenses on the entire slate. So looking at the Atlanta bats here, Atlanta bats as a whole, as a team, they are #1 in the league in team ISO, just their power against right-handed pitching. They're #2 in slugging percentage. They're #3 in on-base plus slugging percentage. They're #3 in WOBA. This offense just smashes right-hand hitting. So you're definitely going to be wanting the Atlanta bats. They're probably going to be one of the chalkier teams. Well, probably the chalkiest team on the slate. So really targeting guys like Freddie Freeman, the lefties, Freeman, you know, Albies. So I think they're going to be fine plays, but really I don't think you can go wrong really anywhere. They are pricey, and that could come into play because of the pitchers that we do have on this slate going later on in. But I think Atlanta is by far one of my, well, I'll say it, they're probably my favorite offense on the entire slate. Toronto, though, I mean, they're right up there with them as well. Morton, he's not too great. He's got, like I said, he's got that walk issue and limited movement on his pitches. And the Toronto lineup is filled with righties, except for Biggio down here, who's just having a terrible season so far. But Morton's a right-handed pitcher, but the past 2 seasons, he's been reverse splits. So we have that going in favor for us here. So really, anybody is in play. They're very similar to Atlanta in that they're priced up, and there's a reason for that. But I mean, like if you want to go a little cheaper, Teoscar Hernandez is a great play. He's been batting cleanup in the 4th spot. He's in the ball lately. He just hit a home run right before I started recording this video here. So I think he's a great play at 4-2. But yeah, Jansen. I mean, Jansen's the guy. He's going home run or nothing. That's it. You can he's batting less than 100, but he's got 3 home runs on the season. So he's going boomer bust, and that's pretty much it. But I think they're all fine plays. Grichuk, absolutely. So Toronto, Atlanta, you're definitely going to be wanting targeting the bats in this game. Pitchers, not really at all. Move on to the next game, Philadelphia against Washington. We got Eflin versus Corbin. A pitcher I finally have interest in, Zach Eflin. Hey, he's got great command. He's got just 3 walks on his entire season so far, and that's compared to the 42 strikeouts that he has. So he's been doing just fine this season. You can see he's got a nice floor to his DFS game, which is great. Now, Washington, they don't really strike out against right-handed pitching at all, but they also don't do anything else offensively. They're bottom 10 in the league or bottom 5 in the league in nearly every single category. Slugging, on base percentage, isolated power, WOBA, all those things. They're bottom of the league against right-handed pitching. So I think Eflin makes a great floor for this slate. 8-2. I think he should absolutely be in consideration for some of your cash builds as well. I'm not saying he is a cash lock at all by any means, but he definitely needs to be on your radar for that. Corbin, complete opposite end of the spectrum. He's just a disaster this season. I mean, he's come back a long ways from his first 2 starts where he let up 15 earned runs in 6 innings. He's come back a long way, but he's still letting up. I mean, look at this, 3 home runs last game, 1 home run, 2 home runs, 3 home runs here. So he's got a major home run issue. If you look at his StatCast here, I pulled up his profile here. So Patrick Corbin, blue is bad, and he is just terrible. These are all percentiles, so he's in the 3rd percentile for many of these things. He just gets hit hard. He can't get anybody to chase. He's got 0 movement on his pitches here, so they're hitting him hard. So I like the Philadelphia bats here. Real quick, Washington bats. I'm not interested in any of them going against Eflin. If you really want somebody, maybe you got like Josh Bell, who's fairly cheap here, but everybody else is just way too priced up for my liking to go against Eflin. 5.7, 5.6. They're having great seasons, but I'm not going to be paying that much money, especially when I'm going to want to be paying up at pitcher. But Philly bats, I got a lot of interest in the Philly bats here. Corbin has a 380 ISO against right-handed hitting this season. So righty batters are hitting 380 ISO off of him, 430 WOBA. So I think they're all just in a phenomenal spot here. McCutchen leading off. He's been the leadoff machine for home runs lately. So McCutchen at 4.1, his salary is remaining the same throughout this whole thing, which is fantastic. Bohm at 3K is just way too cheap. He's been in the 5-6 hole or 5-6 spot in the lineup here, but he's got those great bats in front of him to drive in some runs. So at 3K, just way too cheap. Hoskins, we know what he's capable of. He hasn't really hit any home runs lately, but he's still getting on base, whether it's through hits or walks. So he's not throwing up the major DFS numbers, as you can see, just because of the lack of home runs, but he is getting on base. So we all know what he's capable of. So 4K, fine play. JT Realmuto, see if he's healthy enough to go. But yeah, I like Philly here. I think they're a great play. You can absolutely do some one-offs here. If you go Bohm, maybe pairing him with the stack mainly because I like him more for who he's able to drive in and the guys going ahead of him in the lineup. Yeah. Detroit, Kansas City. This is the other game that is the highest over-under on the slate at 9. The pitchers here, Turnbull, I don't have any interest in. Just none whatsoever. Just the matchup, who he is as a pitcher. I just don't have any interest outside of a large field GPP. Lynch, I think he's very intriguing here. 5'7", and everybody is just going to remember him from getting lit up by the White Sox here. He didn't even make it past the first inning. So everybody's going to remember this game. It's fresh in their minds that he's a terrible pitcher, and that's that. Lynch is not a terrible pitcher. He is the number 2 prospect in this Royals organization. Like, there is high hopes for this kid to do well. So he's 5'7", the number 2 prospect in the organization. And now he's going up against Detroit, who strikes out 35% of the time against left-handed pitching. Now, one knock against Lynch here is obviously he has the blow-up power, but Detroit has done pretty well against these Kansas City lefties this series. They threw out Singer, and they were able to hit Singer, and then Danny Duffy. I was like, who pitched tonight? Danny Duffy. Detroit has put up some runs against Duffy as well. So I'm not saying Lynch is going to go out there and keep Detroit to under like 2 runs or anything and have this magical DFS game, but I think he's definitely somebody that you need to have on your radar for his price and his potential and what this Kansas City Royals organization really sees in him. So going against the White Sox, I'm going to throw it off. It was one game against the top tier offense in the entire league. Now he's going against the complete opposite, a bottom tier offense in the entire league, maybe the worst offense in the league as a top prospect. So Lynch, I think he definitely needs to be on your radar there. As for bats, nobody in particular is really sticking out here. Obviously, it's a high over-under total. I lean more towards the KC side. Turnbull's a right-handed pitcher, but right-handed batters have actually hit better against him in the past 2 seasons. So he's got a reverse splits thing going on here. So looking kind of right in the heart of the lineup there. I mean, Soler at 3.7. He could be a fine play. He's a guy that's kind of going boomer bust here. A bit more bust lately, but 29 points at 3.2. I think he's definitely should be on your radar if you are stacking these Royal bats. And I would go more with the righties here. As for Detroit, I like Lynch. I don't think he's going to be great. I think Detroit's going to put up runs. I just don't think they're going to ever break a slate. They're not going to be hitting home runs like crazy. What they're going to do is they're going to hit singles, maybe a double here and there, and just drive runs in. So not really too interested in the Detroit bats unless I'm full stacking them. But I just don't see a takedown happening with a Detroit stack on this slate here. St. Louis and Milwaukee. Now we got to the pitchers that everybody's interested in. Burns and Flaherty. Top 2 pitchers on the slate by far. Burns, it says he's out. He will play. He is going to be pitching. That is confirmed. He was held out because he did have a positive COVID test. He was asymptomatic. So he says he still feels great. He was asymptomatic, obviously, so he wasn't feeling anything. He feels just fine. One concern with him right now is just how long does Milwaukee let him pitch? I mean, obviously he was asymptomatic, but it's still COVID. How is the Milwaukee organization treating this? If they only let him go 4 or 5 innings, that 10.6K price tag is a little scary. But if he's able to go the full workload that he typically has been, he's got to be a lock in your cash lineups here, especially going against St. Louis. I'm just looking at his strikeout. He still hasn't walked anybody all season. He's got 49 strikeouts on the year. So it's just incredible. Other side of that game is Jack Flaherty, and he's also had just a great start to the season here. His strikeout percentage is down on the season compared to what he was. He was typically like a 30% strikeout rate guy the past couple of seasons. Now he's down to 26. So a slight drop off, but I'm not too concerned about it because Milwaukee strikes out. I think they're top. Let's see. Let me check real quick. Top five in most strikeouts against right-handed pitching. So he should have a decent game here, only 9.4K. You could see what his floor is. He's been in the 20s nearly every single game except for that opener. So I think he's a great play. He's got a great matchup here. If you do want to get some bats in this game, I don't have any interest really. But if you do want to get some bats, I would actually go with Milwaukee. And that's strictly due to their price tag. I mean, look at how cheap these guys are. 3.8 for Wong, but under that, next highest guy is 3.4 and down. So super cheap. Vogelbach at 2.5. He's in that lefty-righty matchup. He could be popular and a great salary savings play for you there. So love the pitchers in that game, not so much the bats. On the final game here, Minnesota versus the White Sox. Lance Lynn, the strikeouts are there, obviously, but he is going up against a Minnesota team that really can scare you at times and really put a pitcher out of the game. But we know what his ceiling is. But I think he's a decent play. 9.2, appropriately priced. I got not much else to say about Lynn there. Pineda's had a weird season. He's allowed 2 or fewer runs in all but one of his starts here. But he has a very high hard contact rate. He's got strikeouts. He's 5 or 6 every single game. But his main concern is that hitters are hitting him hard. He's got a high hard contact rate. Let me see if I can pull this up here for you guys real quick. Michael Pineda, hard hit rate. Is it going to load? Maybe, maybe not. Looks like maybe not. All right, well, you know what? Pineda, he's been getting hit hard, and that does not bode well when you're going up against a team like the White Sox, who have all of that power in their lineup. So I think the White Sox make a great play, especially in GPP. If you want to stack them, I think they definitely have the boom power going against a pitcher that, like I said, gets hit hard at times. So White Sox, I think they're a great play. And they're fairly cheap for the comparatively compared to like teams like Atlanta and Toronto, even Philly a little bit. They have some decent pricing here. So 4.9 for Tim Anderson, obviously high, but you're getting contact, you're getting hits, you're getting stolen base upside with Anderson. Fantastic. But like Abreu, Moncada, Mercedes, Grandal, it's just home runs or home run. All these guys can launch it out of the park. So I think they're fantastic plays here. Madrigal, if he's going into the lineup here, I think he's a great play. Like this, he's almost saying 300 on the season, and is still 2.7. So that kind of wraps things up. I love the bats from Atlanta, probably my top option. Love the bats from Toronto as well. Chicago White Sox, those are probably the top 3. Atlanta, Chicago White Sox, Toronto, in that order. Pitchers, you're going Burns, Flaherty, Eflin, and then kind of have your eye on Lynch. He's a top prospect going against the worst offense in baseball. People are going to remember his terrible outing against the White Sox. So at 5.7, I'm worth taking a dart on him. I don't trust him in cash, but for GPP, absolutely, I think he's a great play to kind of break yourself away from the field there. So again, let us know in the comments if you like this format better. This is my first time doing it this way, so it might have been a little clunky. So I do apologize, but let us know. On these small slates here, do you prefer us to go game by game and have a breakdown? Or would you prefer us to go through the pitchers one by one and then kind of give you our favorite 2 or 3 stacks? So hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment down below. Make sure to check out our other video going on tonight. Mega Ruler 31 will have that one for the late slate. And good luck in your contest tonight. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.